right, Lindsay, what's in your lens today?
Let's talk about it. So, we ask a lot of federal law enforcement. We give them badges, guns, the authority to detain, arrest, and in some cases, use deadly force. At the very least, we owe the public and the officers themselves is a rigorous constitutional training. Right now, that's exactly what's being called into question inside ICE. Ryan Schwank, a former ICE lawyer turned instructor at the federal law enforcement training centers in Georgia, resigned and is now speaking out as a whistleblower. He says what's happening behind the scenes is not just bureaucratic streamlining, it's just flat out dangerous.
Secretive orders to teach new cadets to violate the Constitution by entering homes without a judicial warrant. For the last 5 months, I watched ICE dismantle the training program, cutting 240 hours of vital classes from a 584-hour program.
That's not a small trim. Internal documents released by Senate Democrats show that a July 2025 syllabus required 584 hours over 72 days. A February syllabus shows roughly 336 hours over 42 days. That's about a 40% reduction in training. Schwank says it's not just about the hours, it's about what exactly is being removed.
Classes that teach the Constitution, our legal system, firearms training, the use of force, lawful arrests, proper detention, and the limits of officers' authority. For example, they ceased all of the legal instructions regarding use of force.
The documents show certain courses no longer listed, including the use of force simulation training, immigration law instruction, and exams about judgment pistol shooting, and an exam called determined removability, which tests whether agents can properly assess if someone is legally allowed to be in the United States at all. Recruits now reportedly complete just 9 practical exams to graduate compared to 25 in most previous years. This is all happening amid a massive hiring surge. After a planned $75 billion infusion over 4 years, ICE says it has hired more than 12,000 new officers, which is more than doubling its force, with thousands more projected to graduate by the end of September. When you scale that fast, something has to give. The question is whether it should be constitutional guardrails. The administration disputes these claims. A DHS spokesperson said, quote, "Our officers receive extensive firearm training, are taught de-escalation tactics, and receive Fourth and Fifth Amendment comprehensive instruction." Schwank counters that. Standards have been condensed in ways the public doesn't fully understand, he says. Over the last year, federal immigration operations have already resulted in deadly encounters involving American citizens, including the shootings of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy during enforcement actions in Minneapolis. In both cases, there were conflicting accounts about what happened, questions about the level of threat, and scrutiny over how force was used. When immigration agents are deployed into major American cities, often in fast moving, tense environments, the margin for error is razor thin. These aren't routine paperwork stops. These are high stakes encounters where decisions are made in seconds and consequences last forever. That's why training on constitutional limits, use of force, and lawful arrests isn't optional. It's foundational. If internal documents show fewer hours, fewer exams, and fewer simulations, while the agency more than doubles in size, that should concern everyone, regardless of where they stand on immigration policy. This isn't about being pro or anti immigration enforcement. It's about whether the people enforcing the law are deeply trained in the actual law. Speed cannot outrun the Constitution. If we're going to expand power, we have to expand preparation. Anything less puts everyone, officers and civilians alike, at risk. So that whistleblower report really threw me off to see him saying, directly contradicting. I mean, we know the Senate has reported that the hours of training has diminished a lot, but when he went into detail as one of the training officers, saying that this is what we've cut, how to react in these dire situations, and some of the training about use of force, I think that that should be concerning across the board, especially because the incidents that we don't want to see happen, no matter where you stand on looking at specifically the Renee Good incident and saying, well, she shouldn't have, that all put to the side, looking at Alex Preddy, did both people need to die? Was use of force warranted? That's the exact conversation that the investigation is looking into. And I think that they're lacking training in these ways will be very problematic as we think about how we're enforcing immigration.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? I think there should be ample training, adequate training of ICE officers and other police officers. I'm not at all against training. I'm for more training. These are people we trust to take their lives into their own hands, our lives. They are authorized to use deadly force. The state, the police, they have a monopoly on the legitimate use of non-defensive force. They can initiate force against you, lethal force, violence. No one else can do that. That requires trust, high degree of trust being placed in them, and so they should be adequately trained to do that. I have no idea what the precise number of hours are necessary. I don't need to be overtrained, but I don't, more than the administration does now is fine with me. That, of course, requires spending more money on police services, not less. So, defund the police means, or abolish the police, that means cut training for what police we do have. So I don't know why that was ever a winning Democratic slogan, but no, I favor more training for immigration officers and anyone else. They should be properly trained. They should not shoot first, ask questions later. We don't want to see things like Renee Good, Alex Preddy, even if they could be justified given what happened in the situation. We don't want those things to become more frequent. So yeah, train them. I'm all for training. And I don't think you'd find anyone who would disagree.
Well, I think the fast nature of it obviously is coming from the administration down, from immigration officials, like hiring 12,000 new ICE agents is because he wants to make this a core issue for himself, even though the, I guess, dramatic instances of criminals running rampant throughout our country don't match the urgency of speed and fast tracking people through necessary training. If 40% of what usually was training for 25 years, a precedent, is cut in half, just to fast track 12,000 new ICE agents, like what is the real goal? Having people that are like, it's like throwing up a home and then things start to break. Like, okay, we need the foundational structure to be intact so that people can go out and do a good job, whether you agree with ICE or not. It's just the fact that there's a pressure coming from the administration and federal officials to get this done quickly so that more ICE agents can obviously enact what the president sees as the vision, or his team, Tom Homan, sees as the vision for immigration enforcement. And I think that that should be a directive that, yes, we do want to get people trained if we believe this is the way forward, but also not quickly in the wrong way. We want to make sure we're getting trained people adequately, no matter if it takes a little bit longer. What's the rush?
Yeah, I train them. I mean, it's not controversial. Is anyone arguing against this? Are people going, no, train them less?
Well, I think no one's speaking about it, and I think even Republicans should call for it to make sure this is not happening. I mean, we have a whistleblower for a reason. He's saying no one's doing anything, and he's getting these direct orders from immigration officials, Department of Homeland Security, to train or cut training off in these ways, and he doesn't think it's right. And this was brought forward by Senate Democrats. So where are the Republicans saying, wait, we need to look into this because we care about ICE and we care about them, this implementation strategy so specifically. So where are these people calling for the right training? I mean, you said that Democrats are always saying abolish ICE, abolish the police.
They want to eliminate
okay, so
entirely.
The Republicans who want to continue to keep ICE exactly as is should be calling for appropriate training so that they can at least be well trained as they do the job that Republicans are asking them to do.
Right, but Democrats don't think they should do this job at all. So are Democrats going to appropriate more funding for training of ICE officers? Obviously not.
Well, the whole
they're not. They don't
Democratic
even vote
Party
to
is not on
fund
the same page about that. We
Homeland
talked about
Security.
that. This is the Hakeem Jeffries issue right now. He was on Joy Reid's podcast and didn't say he wanted to abolish ICE, and that was a big issue. So I don't think if you talk about the leadership of the Democratic Party,
right, the leadership is out of touch with their base. Their base wants defund the police, abolish ICE, don't enforce immigration, and that's what the base wants. It's not what the majority of the American people want, which is why the Democrats are in this difficult position where they have to appease the far left radicals who constitute the most energized part of their party, but leadership doesn't want to give them what they want. So,
well, Hakeem Jeffries is in the actual position. So at the end of the day, he's one of the people that makes the decision, and he's calling for some transparency now with other Democrats that are saying, look, if we're going to continue to have ICE, because I never said abolish them, can we at least train them properly? So I would like to hear more Republicans saying the same thing now that we have this information.
Next up, actor Robert De Niro got a little bit emotional while criticizing the Trump administration in a recent interview. Bless his heart. We'll look at that next.